Tonight on the Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast.
16 years old and still scared of the dark.
Oh, geez. We're in for a scary time tonight. Spooky. Get your spooky pants on, man. Okay.
It's all about the spooky house with the crazy rednecks. Ha, 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 ha. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is time for the 37th episode, the official Halloween episode of the Delirious Dads Gaming Podcast. We wanted to bring this one to you before Halloween, give you ample time to get your seasonal listening in. If you don't celebrate Halloween, then it's the fall episode that has nothing to do with fall stuff because...
Or you can just say it's the spooky episode. Because even if you don't like Halloween, you probably still like scary things.
It's spooky.
There you go. I love that voice, Hunter.
I do too. Good. I'm jealous of it, like full on.
Well,
Makes me mad.
I'm not because I channel my inner Dracula.
Chocula.
Count Chocula.
Yeah, so tonight's episode is going a little bit different for everybody listening. We are going to basically talk about scary games. Horror genre games. If you don't like those games, then this episode really isn't for you. Because we're going in deep. We're talking scary games. So.
And I've got a new baby. I haven't seen her yet because we're pre-recording this one. But
this is true.
I do have one in real time. When you're watching this, I've got a new baby. So that's pretty cool.
To think about.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's almost like you're a time traveler in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're doing your thing right now. Mm-hmm. And all that jazz. Well, there's not going to be a lot of transitions in this episode. Actually, there's going to be none because there's really not a reason to transition when you're only talking about horror stuff,
I mean, if we're all honest, the spookiest part of this episode is that there's no structure to it.
Right. Very scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a little bit different, more free form. We're not going to be transitioning to different segments in this episode. The news that we're about to cover here is just going to be very quick news, and it's not even really, big news of the week. It's going to be Halloween related. The first thing I wanted to bust through real quick, just wanted to let everybody know that Apex Legends has announced that it's doing its Halloween event, its first ever Halloween event. So
Sweet.
To help celebrate the Halloween season, Apex Legends will have a spooky event. It's called The Fight or Fright. It's going to be running from October 15th to November 5th. The event will bring new skins, a limited team game mode, and other cosmetics. The new game mode is called Shadowfall. It will utilize
a whole new mode.
Mm-hmm. Yep, just for the event. Yep.
Okay.
It will utilize Kings Canyon map. But with a nighttime twist, after 35 players drop in, anyone who is killed will turn into an undead version of their character.
What?
Yeah. Though they won't be able to use any of their skills when undead, they'll be faster and have strong melee attacks. Once there are only 10 players left, the remaining players will have to team up to make it to an evacuation ship before the undead players get to them.
That's cool.
Oh, that's
like that.
Really cool. Why isn't that just a game? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's funny. Some of those side games like that do catch on though. Like remember Call of Duty Zombies back in the day was just like a little and then all of a sudden it was like people just loved it.
It was expected. It's like we want every game to have that. Every game you really should have that. Yep. So all the limited time cosmetics for this event are also going to be obtainable via straight up purchasing them through crafting or from buying event Apex packs.
So you have to pay for this event.
Well, no, just for the items in it. Like they got like a clown costume.
Oh, okay.
They've
You can
got-
still participate without paying them.
Right. Yep.
Okay, cool.
But they have different stuff. They got like a Frankenstein looking outfit. They've got a Dracula outfit.
All right.
Different things you can put your characters in for the different characters.
Nice.
Yeah. So, man, that's going to be awesome. From October 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time until October 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, players will be rewarded double XP for placing in the top 5 in those game modes. They've also have some weapon skins. So some of these look like Dracula themed weapons. They got one that looks like maybe a scarecrow.
Okay.
A scarecrow type pistol.
Zombie skin. Come on now.
And I don't. They have the Frankenstein one, which kind of looks zombie-ish, but not quite. That looks
Not
like
full-on
it's
zombie.
No, it looks like this is the Samoan too. It looks like.
I guess you don't need a zombie skin because you're about to be a zombie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about gun skins for some reason. My bad.
Well, no, they did have gun skins as well. They didn't have any
okay.
zombie theme, but looked like Dracula and some other stuff. So also don't forget, just a little reminder, you have Overwatch, their Terror, I believe it's Terror Nights or something like that. Their Halloween event will be launching as well. So you definitely want to check that out. They usually have new skins. They do a Junkrat, like a zombie style. It's like a 4-player co-op campaign. You fight robots that are like zombies.
Do you know when both of these start?
Not the Overwatch one. They haven't. They just released it.
Okay.
The rumor going around is because it didn't come out on the 8th, so the rumor is it's going to come out on the 15th. So
Okay.
by the time you're listening to this, it's probably already launched.
Okay.
Yep, and that happens to be the same day that they're launching the Switch on, or not the Switch, the Overwatch Nintendo Switch Legendary Edition.
Gotcha.
So they're probably timing that on purpose.
Right.
Let's see here. Also, World of Warcraft. If you like Warcraft, they have a Halloween event as well. That is starting. Got it pulled up here. October 18th to November 1st. That's just a event as well where the Headless Horseman comes and he attacks the world of Azeroth, mainly the smaller cities around the capital cities like Goldshire, places like that. You can go fight him in Warcraft if you're playing World of Warcraft right now.
Probably some specific loot related. Just mission related loot. Yeah.
Yep, you can go and actually fight the Headless Horseman at max level, and he drops loot when you kill him. So he's got his own special Halloween dungeon.
Nice.
They also decorated, don't they, with pumpkins and everything?
Yeah, there's pumpkins everywhere, and they do it up big. Also in Overwatch, they redo some of their maps in Halloween as well. So,
cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of the Halloween news that I, saw worth it. I know Fortnite usually does a Halloween event as well, so be on the lookout for theirs. So I think that's all the games I can think of that do anything Halloween related specifically.
Yeah. That kind of stuff's getting more and more popular. Back in the day, the only game that ever did events was World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Now it's like, with the way the games are constantly getting updates and all that, they do these themes and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's worth it. I mean, gosh.
I think it's a good idea.
It makes the game feel more alive. You're celebrating a holiday while playing a game in a way.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. It's really neat. So we'll go ahead and start the format. We're going to be doing, we're basically going over some top games, top horror games of all time. I'm pulling from Games Radar. They have 20 listed. We're probably not going to go over all 20 because it's just a lot of games.
Right.
So I'm probably going to pick from games that are more well-known or things we've played or heard of so that we have things to talk about.
Right. We don't have to go into details on all of them either. You know what I mean? If you think it's one that's worth mentioning that we haven't played, I'd like to hear that too.
Right. Well, number 20 for them is Lone Survivor. This is a Silent Hill style 2D type game.
Okay.
And you basically go, Yeah, it's 2D. It's like a platformer.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2D.
Yep. Well, the name of the game is Lone Survivor, but it's
I got you.
they say
Yeah,
it's
right,
like Silent Hill. Yeah.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around how that would work.
Yeah.
2D.
Yeah. They say that you come in contact with creeping monstrosities. They scrape down barely lit corridors. The world seems to shift around you, and you can never quite trust your surgical mask protagonist that he's the good guy or not. So has kind of some different elements to it for a
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, the artwork's pretty neat looking as well. Number 19 is a well-known game. It's Fear. This game is the first-person shooter. It was heavier on the shootout action than most horror games. While its arsenal of weaponry gets more brutal, wall pinning, weaponized railway spikes, all these things come into play. Fear's best scares came about when you're riding the high after clearing out a room, for instance, and then the little creepy girl shows up.
Yeah.
So,
Is that the one where you can change form or you have like a partner in one of them? Like it's co-op? Remember me and you tried a game like that?
No, this one isn't co-op.
It's
No,
not?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
No.
That's the one I'm thinking in my
Fear
head.
has a little girl and it looks like the Grudge girl. Kinda.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Okay.
Yeah, and she straight up just, phases in and out and very ghostly
Okay.
I've
looking.
never played it personally, but I played it with
That's
my
not what
cousin.
I'm thinking of.
Mm.
I'm thinking of a game me and you tried, Clint, I think once. And we didn't like it that much, if I remember right. And I think there was two characters. One was maybe like a spirit or something like that, but I think the cover was like a split down in their face. And it said something like Fear. It was a short name.
Okay.
And one side was blue, one side was red.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
I
It wasn't
vaguely
one of the
remember
Far
it.
Cries?
No.
No, because it
One of
was
the
more
older
horror
Far
related.
Cries, you could play 2-player, and one of you was the monster, and one of you was the person.
No, this wasn't Far Cry. I do remember they had different abilities. Like one person could maybe, like they could manipulate time, and the other person could manipulate space, or something like that.
Gotcha.
Anyways, go on.
Well, number 18, and this one played plenty of, is Condemned: Criminal Origins.
Oh, that
This-
was a good one.
Yep, I remember playing this one on the Xbox 360 back in the day.
Yep.
Kind of a cool cross between you start out as a detective type policeman, you come across a murder. It looks kind of Hannibal style, like a Hannibal Lecter style killing.
Mm-hmm.
You go through the game. It's darkly lit. They do a very good play on sounds all around you. You come across criminals that look like they're on drugs. As you go through the game, the story changes dramatically. It gets crazier as you go in. Has a lot of jump scares. It's very
I think that was the
effective.
first game maybe that I ever played that had that full on, like your flashlight is all you can see.
Yeah.
Like usually your flashlight brightens things, but if I remember right in that game, it's like black
Mhm.
outside of where your flashlight in certain rooms, not the whole game,
Yeah.
or that'd be annoying. But there's certain rooms that were that way. Yeah, I remember that was intense in those kind of areas.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one. I liked it.
Did you get to play this one, Hunter? Do you remember this one at all?
I remember playing a little bit of it, but I didn't play through it or anything.
Okay. To me, it was the first horror game that ever captured a cinematography feel. We had played the Resident Evils and things like that, but they were always fixed camera. And this was one of the first games that came out on 360, especially in the horror genre. And so, they really stepped it up on that iteration of games. And so it was the first game that I was like, man, I feel like I'm actually in a movie, not playing a game.
Had a whole different vibe to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Number 17 on the list is Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly.
Never played that one.
That one's freaky.
You played that
Really?
one? All right, tell us a little bit about it.
You have to use like your camera to see these ghosts. That's what it's called, Fatal Frame.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I remember I didn't play through the whole thing, but one of my friends had it on Wii, I think. It's on the
Okay.
Wii, and he played with it. And you like aim it with the controller and stuff, and you'd have to take you'd hold the controller like this, like it's a camera. And you'd look around, and
Okay.
on the screen you could see something was going on, but not till you put the camera up on it because you see the ghost. So it was kind of freaky.
So it
And the way
made you
would
focus
fight
through.
the ghost is like you would flash them with the camera or something like that. I don't remember. It's been so long, but it was freaky because something wasn't there and then it was when you put the camera up, and it would really freak you out. It was one of the first games that did stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's a different vibe.
Now, could the ghost attack you on that one?
Yes.
Okay. Because I remember I played the original Fatal Frame way back in the day, and it was the same, but I'm sure this one had more add-ons and things to it that made it more maybe action
In depth.
But I remember that one being very scary and me having a hard time playing it. For that very reason, they force you to look it right in the face, and that's the only way you can kill it.
Right.
Yep. So you couldn't just run past it.
Nope.
Number 16 on our list is Little Nightmares. This is
Never heard of that one.
Too.
yeah, Little
That's
Nightmares.
A very cool game.
Yeah. It says it's a strange Little Nightmares Strange World, but is a darkly unpleasant one, and certainly not suitable for kids unless you want to scar them for life. Focusing on a strange little character in Yellow Mac, you have to escape the Maw, a never really explained location full of snuffling, twitching, grotesque creatures out to get you. Now, while it has issues, some frustrating perspectives and controls mainly, the horrible atmosphere and revolting cast still make this a great horror experience. One minute you're trying to sneak past a contorted blind man's impossibly long arms. The next you're running from a tidal wave of flopping obese restaurant gluttons. It's disturbingly beautiful and framed with all the love and care of a twisted animated movie.
It's really pretty. It's like a pretty. It's weird, but it's.
I get what you're saying.
I've ever seen what is that called? Inside. That one we talked about a couple weeks ago, and then I forget the other one that they made too. It's a lot older, but it's like a side-scrolling thing like that, and it's pretty cool. Puzzle game type thing.
Okay. Very cool.
But
Looks
it is
neat.
scary.
Yeah. The next one on the list is Alan Wake, number 15. Me and Ryan have talked about this one quite a bit, so we won't talk about it a ton, just because we've mentioned it several times in the previous podcast. But it's another one that had its scary moments to it.
I liked it. I thought it was really unique. My biggest disappointment was the fact that the other episodes didn't come out.
Yeah.
That we were promised, or they did now, I guess, but back then they didn't, or something.
Well, it was so long in between, and so
right.
At that
Just
time,
kind of fell off.
But I did like the idea of killing things with your flashlight. It kind of had the Fatal Frame approach to it, where you had to point something on the creature to actually kill it. And you had to focus it down.
They did a good job with gloominess, and they did a good job with, what do you call it, sounds.
Atmosphere.
That game was, atmosphere. Yeah, it was a good game.
Now, Hunter, you never played that one, right? Okay. Well, the next one on our list, I know you've seen this one because we've talked about it before. Number 14 is Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
I've even played a little bit of that too.
Okay. And what did you think? Very scary, or?
I thought it was. I think there's a lot of build-up in that game, and it's very simple. Like, the atmosphere can be scary, but at the same time, it gets, like, repetitive. So it's like... but it is, I mean, it does get tense sometimes because you're avoiding these monsters, and you know, if anytime you're avoiding a monster and it starts getting close and you can tell it is, then you freak out a little bit.
So that's what I was going to say. There's different kinds of scary. There's jump scare games. There's intense games. There is games that are just really eerie, like they're just dark feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And different games fit different categories within the scary. It's not, you know what I mean? For me, like Alan Wake is a completely different game than, say, Dead by Daylight, like we're playing right now. I'd say they're both scary games, but nothing alike.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Amnesia isn't jump scary. It's also not. I mean, there's a couple things that like bang, and but I wouldn't say like something pops up on your whole screen. And then, of course, it's not like overly gory or like super, like you said, like gruesome to make you like uncomfortable. But it's eerie, and it keeps you on edge because you know there's not a lot of. It's a bunch of corridors. It's like you're underground in a castle, and if you have a monster come upon you in the hall, you know that you're pretty much done because you can't go anywhere. You know, it's like there's,
Right.
there's little places you can hide, and that's about it. So
Yeah. Okay.
pretty cool game though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I've seen a little bit of it. I just never had a chance to play it.
I think what makes it good too is all the mods, so
Mm-hmm.
that you can play.
Yeah. That does make a huge difference. Modded games
Mm-hmm.
gives them life. I mean, that's why Skyrim's still around to this day. With
Yeah.
all the modding. It's funny you say that though. You're talking about that one game that I played, which is number 13 on their list, is Until Dawn. I don't know if you guys ever got to get into that game.
Nope, I've
I
never
didn't
played
play
that
it
one.
personally, but I watched a playthrough on it. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I
It's
mean-
like a storytelling game.
Yeah, it wasn't the biggest horror game that ever made it in the gaming
Mhm.
industry, but they used a lot of good, I would say, mechanics to the game in the sense of this game is totally story driven. So
Right.
the entire game has a butterfly effect to it. You make a decision, and that's going to affect the story going forward. What I really liked about this game is it gives you a lot of a variety of casts to play with of these
Okay.
characters.
A lot of
these
different
teenagers.
characters.
Mhm.
Okay.
And depending on how you play them, you can get characters killed on accident.
Oh, okay.
Even main characters that you think are going to be mainstays in the story, can get
Mhm.
killed in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I like that.
Not
you
to
can pretty
give,
much kill off everybody, can't you?
Mhm.
I mean,
yeah, you get all nuts.
and then you can save everybody too.
Mm-hmm. So this game,
That's interesting.
yeah. So this game has like a lot of different endings. I only played a couple different endings. It is effective in being scary. The story itself, spoiler alert, you might mute this for just a second if you're listening. Spoiler alert on this. It starts off, and in the trailer it suggests that you're being hunted by a killer, like a one single killer.
Mm-hmm.
As the story unfolds, though, you realize that's not true. There actually is real creatures and killers in the game that come after
Okay.
you, and so there's like a subplot, I guess, so to speak, to the game.
Yeah, and they released their second game just recently. I don't know if you saw that, but it's the same mechanic and everything. I think it's called the Men of Madon or something
Okay.
like that,
Okay.
and it takes place in a boat. But if you didn't catch on yet, they've based both of their games so far on some legends.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because
and-
this one's based on the Yeti, right? Or the
It's the Wendigo or something like
Yeah,
that.
the
Wendigo. Yeah.
And then this new one that came out was actually based on a sailor's tale that apparently so many years ago, it's factual. They found a boat, and all the people on it were dead. And it was drifting out in the Indian Ocean, and they don't know if they were carrying a deadly gas that got released or what, but all the sailors were dead.
There's a
And
siren.
their facial expressions looked like they had just seen the most horrific thing they've ever seen in their life. They were all like frozen, scared, like,
Mm.
and they were all just corpses on this ship, but they were all, and
That's
so
creepy.
they don't know if it was real or, I mean, the reports were from sailors that were the real deal, but what had happened is they figured out there was a leak on the ship. Everybody got off of it real fast, and then it blew up and sunk to the bottom of the ocean. So it's obviously a cursed boat because not only did it kill everybody on it, but it sunk to the bottom of the bottom of the sea before
Huh.
Or
everybody else
anyone could
could
be saved.
check it out. Yeah.
You know, I heard a thing on that. You talking about like ghost ships and things. You hear about them old stories. I was watching it was like a documentary type deal where a scientist was explaining there are certain things out in the ocean when water hits just right, depending on fog and like when storms and different things are rolling in. You can actually see mirages, kind of like in the desert.
Right.
And so they said that explains a lot of the ghost ship stories that you hear, the legends of ghost ships, that kind of stuff.
Right.
They said it depended on, I guess, atmospheric changes out on sea that they would.
Or it's a convenient scientific explanation for a conspiracy that's real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was trying to throw a little science in there, but yeah, if you want to go on the other spectrum, yeah, it could be just a ghost ship
But
or
like
demons.
on this story, they actually got out and was walking around on the ship though. So I mean,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a
but
little
anyways, just a little clip. It seems like their the topics they're going for are off of like old legends, which is cool. I like
Right.
that.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I kind of like parody stuff. I wish there was more of that kind of scary pirate stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I like that kind of lore.
I think if there was a game that was, not to get off the scary, but if there was a game that was like a really in-depth pirate RPG that had to do with like different clans and different leaders of these different pirate ships and treasures that everybody is going for at the same time, and kind of some old lore like that, I think that would be
Like
pretty
a
cool.
multiplayer one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like an
that'd be
open
cool.
world,
You
They
should
did-
try
What is that one called? There is a pirate
Assassin's
one.
Creed, Black Flag.
Yeah, but isn't it more
It's
single
not
player though?
multiplayer. It's single player, but you might like it because you go and find stuff. And then there's a new one that came out that's really cartoony though, and it's a pirate game, and you can play with your friends online. We should look into that because you have your own crew. Like it would be us on a crew, and we would go treasure hunting, and then you fight like sea creatures that are legends,
that'd be fun.
like the Kraken and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a little more cartoony, but I could
It's
get
called
into it.
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of
That's what it's
Thieves.
called.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have seen that. Okay.
Well, if you guys like the Dark Souls style games, another one that's on their list for number 12 is Bloodborne.
It's a good
Yep.
one.
It's a good action RPG that's built around the horror genre, scary characters. So
You know what the scariest part of that game is? Is the saving mechanic on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's hardcore. You know, it's like you have to find. I don't know if you ever see the jokes or the memes on Facebook about that, or I mean, on the internet about like even just Dark Souls, but you have to find the bonfire, and that's how you save. But
yeah.
you know, if you kill tons of enemies and you don't get to the bonfire and die, they all come back, and you start where you were. It's
Oh
like,
yeah,
jeez.
yeah. So it's super hardcore,
pretty
just
rough.
like Dark Souls. Then.
Yep.
Well, number 11 on Games Radar's list is Resident Evil 4. This is actually one I didn't play because I didn't have the GameCube, or not GameCube. Was it GameCube?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
well,
so because I didn't play it either, and I didn't have GameCube, but I was a Resident Evil fan big time back
I
then.
think they had it on PS3.
Did they? Okay, that's what
They
it
might
was,
have.
maybe.
I was an Xbox guy at that time, so that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the next one we played was we played 3, and then I think 5, which was the co-op
Yeah.
one. Yeah,
So maybe that
that's
is
when it
why.
kind of went.
They did a remake for PS4. I have it actually.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
I might have to borrow that sometimes because I
How
just
is
never
it? How is
It's
it in
good.
comparison to like number 2?
I don't like it. It's more arcadey again. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like,
okay,
Resident Evil
yeah.
went in that arcade.
Right.
I think it's super arcade. In fact, I swear, there's been arcade games made out of that game.
Oh, really?
I could see
Shooters,
that.
yeah.
I could see that.
But
That's how number 5 was for me. It was still fun, but it wasn't Resident Evil. It was like a whole nother game.
Oh,
it's super
It was a
tough
zombie
because
game,
the angles are fixed in that one too, and they're worse than the older ones. So it's like
Oh,
makes
really?
me super sick. Yeah, tight,
Mhm.
tight, like core, like angles and stuff. It's hard to explain.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
I think maybe no, it's not quite fixed, but it's the way it is. It's like over.
it's over the shoulder,
I take that back. It's not fixed. It's right over the shoulder.
right on his head.
And
Though
it's
they put it at
real
a weird
close.
angle.
Yeah. And then when you turn, like you have to turn really quick for enemies.
They make it
behind
hard for you
There's
to
a way,
evade.
Yeah, there's a way you can turn and he turns straight behind him, and like all that camera movement. I was like, ugh.
Well, you're talking about arcade games. Do you guys remember the like House of the Dead
Yeah.
back in the day? The arcade games at like the movie theaters and
Yes.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I love those games. Back in the day, those graphics were pretty good.
Oh, yeah, they
for
were.
the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We must be kind of horror movie or horror game snobs a little bit. I think a lot of our big stories are definitely, we're almost to the top 10. So
Yeah.
we don't play, down 10 to 20.
It's
Those
like,
aren't
yeah, you're like I know it's got to be in here somewhere.
right. Yeah.
Well, number 10, just so you guys, top 10 here. One we were talking about earlier, Dead Space made it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we are. We're in.
number 10, Dead
I'm surprised
Space.
that's so low on the list.
I know, right?
Well, Dead Space, but that's probably because it's a scare jump. I mean, it is. I guess it's eerie too. It's intense, but it's when you first get Dead Space. Even like when me and Clint first got it, we didn't know it was a. I remember we were looking up online saying, "What other good scary games are there?" That's how me and Clint found it, and we were like, "Dead Space is a horror game."
Yep.
Like we didn't even know.
We researched it, and then we're like, well, I guess we'll go to GameStop and buy it, because that's what you did back in the day, guys.
Right.
I think it just gets so intense. Like your
Mhm.
atmosphere is gloomy and creepy, and then you realize, you only have a certain set of ammo, a certain amount of health, and go into this
And that's
battle,
that's another one
towards
that
you.
it's another one that does sound really well.
Yes.
Does sound really really well, and really
I think
has
in that game,
spook house kind of feel to it.
In that game, you can have infinite ammo, and you're still under tons of pressure if you go into a room and there's more than 3 creatures.
And
There's
like all of a
infinite
sudden it
ammo
gets super
option,
serious.
But I don't think it's very powerful. You have to shoot them quite a bit with that, I think.
Oh, I didn't know it had an option. I just mean the game is intense no matter what ammo you have, in the sense of
I don't remember.
you can die.
I know
It was limited though. I remember because it kind of had that Resident Evil style, that old school style to it.
Oh yeah, the game was you'd run out all the time. Like you had to be real careful on those bolts and stuff like that. What I'm saying is, even if it were unlimited, it would still be an intense game, because that's just how that fighting mechanics were in that game.
I know what I was thinking. There's a thing that you can upgrade your gun where you pick things up. That's unlimited, but it takes a lot of work, and you got to find the right things to shoot at them with it's like a
really?
Gravity. It pulls it up, and then you can just shoot it at them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, and that was also the thing about that game that I liked. You could upgrade your armor, your suit, in the way that you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And it really did matter, because it was like, well, do I want to do health? Do I want to do power? Like,
Yep. It affected the way you could play big time. Yep. I remember that.
because I remember there being a couple times we saved it, realized that the way we built that last perk wasn't really working well for that part of the game.
Yep.
I was like, all right, well, let's go back to that old load point and
You got to replay. Yep.
restack these talents.
And that was another way that game was a lot like Resident Evil, because you had to. It was hard to save. It was, you went through a lot before you got to a save point. But then, if you saved it and you had done something wrong, too far back, it was devastating. It was one of those like, oh no.
What
I
did
remember
we
that
do?
for sure.
Now, Hunter, did you play past number 2? Did you play number 3?
I stopped on 2 also because I got stuck on a part that I never finished.
Okay.
I played about a quarter or a third into 3 not too long ago with Morgan, a friend of mine from church, and so we were playing that one. It was good. Yeah. It was intense. Kind of throws you in a little bit faster than it did when we played. But I remember it was good. One of my favorite experiences playing that game with you, because we were just loving it, was that night. If you remember, Alan came over, and he was either, like I was saying, he was either 15 or 16 at the time. And Alan, you guys obviously who are listening, you don't know.
And my nephew came too. My little nephew, who wouldn't touch it. He wouldn't touch the game.
And Alan, even back then at 15 or 16, was probably over 300 pounds and 6'2". I mean, he's a big dude.
He looked like an adult. You wouldn't have knew he was a teenager.
Oh, yeah. But that dude was so scared. Like, he wasn't even playing. He couldn't play. It was too scary. I remember it was so funny that he was that, and you could tell he just never played any horror games before that, like only shooters and some things like that. Yeah. And it was like... he
was like on his phone. He was like doing other things to not look at the screen.
Yeah, till we finally realized, it's not because he's not interested. It's because he's getting too scared. That was funny when I realized.
It's too intense.
You guys gotta be honest, because I've been here before. You get to a part on a horror game where, like, you just stop.
Yeah, you gotta put the controller down, take a break.
I'm not gonna walk in this room. Like, I can't.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've been in the same room with my brother watching me, and I'm like, I'm gonna have you walk in this room. Like, just I'll watch, but I can't use the controller right now and walk into this room because I'm just.
Yeah.
We need to have a Resident Evil 7 VR party over here one night and record that sucker. Just
that game is crazy.
Because that's...
I'll throw up.
That's scary. Yeah, but that one doesn't... Like, it induces a little bit of VR sickness, but I think it's more so the scariness of it, because it's a whole different... it's a whole different thing. They're actually there, and... It's different. There's no escaping it. Like, you go to move your head. That's the thing about VR on that. You go to close your eyes and turn your head, and they're still there. They're still
Yeah.
grabbing you. It's intense. That's probably the scariest experience I ever had. I'm sure that game's probably later on in this list. Number
They need to
9.
start-
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
I was gonna say they need to start doing some haunted houses like that, but have it's a game, and then it's a 4D experience. So they have actors who touch you at the right time.
So like augmented reality kind of?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be sweet. I'd be down for that.
I'd pee my pants probably. But.
I would do it in a heartbeat. Speaking of getting your heartbeat up, number 9, Soma.
Soma.
I've heard of this, and I've also.
I never played this one.
Soma has its problems, largely from clumsy stealth sections, but it also has, hands down, one of the most unpleasantly disturbing stories of anything in the list. To explain why would ruin it, but this plays with the ideas of consciousness and what makes you in a terrifying way. When you're not exploring the rusting, decrepit undersea base of Pathos 2, you're playing with some pretty heavy metaphysic concepts fit to give you nightmares.
I want to check that out. That sounds fun.
This is a world filled with broken machines full of glitching human consciousness and slimy growths that expands and grows into something terrible, and the longer you spend exploring, the undersea and biotech elements make a Bioshock comparison hard to avoid. But while there are similarities, man's hubris and science pushed too far, especially, this is far more unpleasant and ethically shocking. The new safe mode means you can also now play it just for the story. Finish it and see if you can sleep after. So that's interesting.
good.
They put in a safe mode.
I'm pretty sure I know the
finish it.
storyline to it, and it's pretty good. I don't want to ruin it for you guys, but it's a cool.
Yeah,
it's one
don't
of those
ruin it
ones-
because I'm interested in that one.
It's one of those guys that has a really, really good twist at the end of it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Number 8 for them, and I question this one. They have Until Dawn: Rush of Blood listed as number 8, which is the VR exclusive Until Dawn. It's the roller coaster. It's basically a roller coaster simulator with guns, but they play off of all the characters and creatures and different things from Until Dawn is what they're doing.
Okay.
I've played that in VR, but my brother has it on his VR, and surprisingly enough, it's pretty freaking scary.
Yeah, I mean it's scary, but it's scary because of VR, right?
It's cheap. Yeah, it's cheap scares because VR and how big the things are in that ride. It really makes you feel like you're
So that's what I'm saying. They're rating it's almost just a jump scare game.
Yeah.
It's kind of a
Yeah.
I think the scariest part is at the end of the roller coaster. There's this big clown guy, and he stands at you stop at the end of the roller coaster, and like you're this little, and my head's the clown, and he just comes up like this, and you're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
he's so. And in VR, it looks that big. You're
I had the game. I beat the whole thing. You eventually go into hell.
Really?
Yeah.
The one I played was just a demo.
It was the demo. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got the full game for Christmas. Mikhail got it for me, and I played that sucker all the way through. And the very last one, you actually go into their version of like hell, and the character is nasty, demonic looking, and that
I'm gonna have to check that one out.
it is pretty scary. So, I think it wins the award of number 8 because of the VR, not because of any groundbreaking elements to it.
Hey, I have a website that you can get games on for cheaper. It's called hrkgame.com, and Soma is on there right now for $6.99. So.
Ooh, okay. Nice, $7. That's not bad. Number 7, I've seen this game. I've not played it. Hunter, I don't know if you played it, but I know you've seen it, and Ryan, you've probably heard of it. Outlast, number 7 on the list.
I played a little bit of it and watched somebody complete that game.
I have not. I've never even heard of it.
Oh, really? Well, in that case, this is a first-person trek through a setting literally no one in real life would willingly check out. It takes place in an old asylum that seems abandoned, but also strangely very active. At night, in the mountains, miles from help, The setup alone is perfect for a horror fodder, but it plays out like found footage of the game. So it's like a found footage type, feel to it.
Right.
And it has some crazy stuff in it. Creatures, they look almost zombified, but they're not. They have intelligence to them. I know there's a scene where you come up on a doctor that's like, working on people's limbs, that kind of stuff. He ends up coming after you, and it's a very scary game. They have a whole point where they're chasing you through the asylum, and the guy's just constantly running, having to find doors, find little nooks and crannies to crawl through to get away from these characters that are after him.
It's primarily based on having to like traverse through the dark using night vision on your camera. So like you said earlier with the flashlight, except it's complete night vision. When you put the camera down, you can't see anything. It's pitch black. You put it back up, and it's pretty creepy.
Yeah, and they make it to where the creatures definitely look scary on the night vision.
Yeah, I think they're
Their
just
eyes
all
glow
crazy people.
Yeah, it's almost like they're zombified on drugs, kind of feels.
I get what you're saying.
It's in the asylum, so they're all insane, but they kind of look like they got a plague too, or something like that.
Yeah.
Really
Like
gross.
something
Experimental type
on.
stuff been going on.
Yep. Yeah. So that's one that I actually would still be willing to buy and play on Steam or whatever, from one of Hunter's websites.
That one also has a big twist at the end of it.
Does
That's
it?
a good one.
Okay. I like it when they play with things like that. Number 6 is Silent Hill 2. This was a PlayStation 2 classic.
Dude. Most of the Silent Hills get me.
Here's what's funny. I was trying to remember just yesterday when I was thinking about this episode. I was thinking, I have a lot of very distinct memories from Resident Evil, but I liked Silent Hill like just as much back in the day. Like they were both just super scary, loved them, but I don't have very many specific memories from Silent Hill. I remember what characters looked like. I remember what some of the scary scenes were, but I don't remember moments that much from that game for some reason. Like certain things that were hard to overcome or surprised me, or I just remember being super scared of it. Like it was definitely a good game. One of my favorites.
And I don't know, it kind of had a feel to me, and maybe it's because I was little, but Silent Hill 1, it felt like it was a little more free. Like I felt like Resident Evil was always tighter in your corridors and things.
More linear.
Yeah, you had the mansion where you went through quarters. You had number 2 where you went through corridors. And I felt like on Silent Hill, like there was the whole scene where you're running through the city in the snow, and you can't see anything in front of you. And that to me was very terrifying. And then going into the buildings and it being pitch black and not being able to see.
Yeah,
I think that's probably why I didn't push myself through.
And obviously, Silent Hill had a little more of a spirit vibe to it, which is a different kind of scary than zombies or creatures. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it was very effective. Number 2 was even more effective, and so I think
number 2 was real good for me.
Yeah, so I think it belongs on the spot for number 6. I think
I agree.
Now they're doing well here. So top 5. What do we think the number 5 pick is, guys? Well, What do we think?
If Silent Hill is there, I think Resident Evil 2 is coming real soon.
Hunter?
Number 5. I don't know, brother.
It was Resident Evil 2.
Oh, Ryan got it then.
Yeah.
I've just always thought that those two games were like big competitors with each other. So on the list, I would see them falling right with each other.
Yeah.
Ryan was like Resident Evil 2. He didn't say anything, and I just rambled on.
It doesn't look like Resident Evil 2 is on the rest of the list either. So it looks like they probably just chose this one. It kind of solidifies both.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we did a complete review on this game. Number 2 is phenomenal. Graphics on that game are phenomenal. Definitely scary.
You're talking about the remake of 2. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Loved it.
We got
to finish it.
Yeah, we do need to finish it. Got to see Hunter jump like a little schoolgirl. It was great.
That brings me to one of my second favorite stories. That Resident Evil 2, I think might have been I think I got 3 games with my PlayStation when I first got PlayStation for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Resident Evil 2 is one of them, and that's when I fell in love with horror games. That was my first horror game, and I was just like, this is on. And I don't think I played Resident Evil 1 before I played Resident Evil 2. Just Resident Evil 2 is where I started. And I remember the freaking, what do you call it? That liquor busting through the glass in the police station, right? And that was by far, like, I didn't even know a game could scare me like that because I had not been in that genre really. And I remember, luckily back then, you jump back, and I ripped the cord out of the PlayStation because everything was corded, and it paused it. So that would actually save you. And I'm like, ooh, that was one of those moments like Hunter's talking about. I don't know if I can unplug. I don't know if I can plug back in. I don't know if I can hit the start button. Like, what the freak do we do? Yeah, it was all bad. Yeah, that was serious.
Where do we go from here? Yeah. Do I want to keep pushing it? There's plenty of times I had to play that game with the lights on, door open, so that if something too bad happened, I could run to my parents. Like, I had an escape route ready because it was so realistic looking for a kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that game was.
I kind of missed my window, but with Silent Hill, I remember staying over at my cousin's house and playing that, and I was always the type of kid where, like, while we're playing it, I was big, beefy, like, this is fine, I'm fine.
Right.
And then when the night came, it's time to go to bed, and all the lights went off, I would just think about it. I would just sit there and think. And if I had to go to the bathroom, if I needed a drink, it had to wait till the morning because I pictured outside that door. The walls were turning rusty like Silent Hill. There was all those monsters out in the dark.
And see, that's one of the elements that Silent Hill, like as scary as Resident Evil was, you knew there was no real licky monsters. You knew there was no real zombies. Silent Hill had that. When you add the spiritual stuff to it, it's got a different kind of scare. Yeah, and it was like, you'd be scared walking in the dark after that one for sure.
You're like, I'm definitely on an old Indian burial ground. They're gonna come back for their revenge, and I'm gonna be the poor soul stuck in the middle. It wasn't me. It was my ancestors. Hey, a movie, which me and you, I think, talked about this on the podcast, right? A movie that did that for me was the old school Night of the Living Dead, black and white.
Oh man, that one was rough.
I watched that when I was like 13, and it got to me. I don't know why.
Yep. First movie that ever ruined me. First movie ever that just jacked me up.
I watched I watched all these other movies that had like gore and stuff in it, but for some reason the simplicity of that black and white.
Yep. Made it scarier.
That soullessness that the zombies had. It was just too, like, they looked like corpses. I mean, now you see zombies and it's like, oh, it's a deteriorating body. How cool. That's awesome. But
I think the movie that messed me up the most was the first Saw.
Yeah, that one would jack you up.
I was over at a friend's house, and I didn't even like scary movies.
You were younger. You were younger, too.
Young. Yeah.
That's a rough one to watch.
They were like, we got a scary movie, and they put it, when you're all with your friends and there's girls there, you don't want to be like,
right.
Watch.
Right.
So I just watched it, and it wasn't necessarily like,
twisted.
I just never seen a movie that twisted, that gory, and I couldn't get it out of my head, and that's what freaked me out. I kept seeing the images, and I told my mom, I was like, Mom, that movie was too bad. Like, I just can't.
Had a little PTSD from it.
She was mad. She's like, I'm gonna call them and tell them that I can't believe they showed. I was like, no, don't do that. I just
Yeah.
And for days I couldn't get that crap out of my head, and I was thinking about the puppet, and I was just scared to death that I was gonna go to sleep and wake up in a little room, and there's gonna be that puppet there. Hey Hunter, you want to play a game?
Chucky never did that to me, like the Chucky story.
Is that my dog or your dog?
I don't know. The Chucky movies weren't ever like super scary to me for some reason. Maybe because it was more Hollywood.
Yeah.
But the movies that got me was Puppet Master back in the day.
Never saw that one, I don't think.
The old Puppet Masters. Those are the ones that I'm sure Ryan watched some of those, but yeah.
Puppet Master was way scarier than Chucky, for sure.
Just super creepy. They had like a pinhead dude, one that was like supposed to be like hulking strong. They had one lady that would like, I don't even know what she would have these slugs or something that would come out of her mouth, and she'd like throw them up on her victim.
Yep, just.
Yeah. And then they had the scariest one to me was the little cowboy guy. He wore all black, was a skeleton, like a white skeleton face, and he had like blonde, really light blonde hair. And he had a little cowboy hat on, and he had a hook and just a knife, like a blade, and he'd slice people up. And God,
They were
that game was-
puppets.
they were puppets that came to life.
Puppets that were alive. They were demon possessed.
They were demon possessed, and all of them had their own abilities, and they would team up and just take people out.
Yeah.
Man, that was scary. And it
It
was
was.
classic old, like, early 90s, late 80s horror, you know?
What made that one scary though is you've seen those kind of puppets and
Dolls.
dolls around at people's houses. Yep.
Yep, just
That's
the
what made it
creepy-
like.
Yep. Yeah, because
Dude,
Chucky
I
had a
never
definite,
watched-
like, oh.
I never watched any of those movies, but even still, like, when I went up to work for Natalie's parents before we got married, I stayed in their guest room upstairs, and her mom had dolls out in there, and I had to put them all in the drawers.
It's
I
creepy.
had to put
Yeah.
them all in the drawers.
Especially
You
those
know.
old like pale porcelain looking ones.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have the glass eyes that look real.
I hate those. They weren't even those kind. They were just like a cloth doll. And I was like, nah, still going in the drawer.
Yep.
You can't watch me while I sleep.
That's why the Annabelle movie is so popular, you know?
Yeah, there's just something about that.
And then you had those stupid Furbies in the 90s.
Yeah, those are pretty creepy.
And my friends would have them, and they start going off in the middle of the night. You wanted to punt them out the window.
That's funny.
Like,
Oh,
scary
well.
stuff.
yeah. I didn't like Furbies either, but I was much older by the time they were big.
Right.
But yeah, they still had kind of a creepiness. They kind of had more of a Teletubby look to them.
Yeah.
It was like it was more of a pedophile creep.
Yeah.
So top four. Here we go, guys. The final countdown. The top four.
The final countdown.
Number 4 is a game we've talked about in the past. PT got the number 4 spot, and it
I
wasn't
never
even a
got
full
to play
game.
that one.
It was
Hey.
just a demo.
Clinton,
Yeah.
is Visage on this list?
I don't think it is.
No, it wasn't in the top 3. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
I don't know why
It's-
they didn't, because I've heard
It's
of that.
maybe
one.
this
PT. Oh,
list-
PT's the one with the ghost standing behind you. That's that one.
Yeah, maybe
Right.
this
Yeah.
list was made after Visage or something.
Might have
before.
been. Yeah, it might have been. You might be right on that. Yep. So PT gets the number 4 spot. This game, you can go
That's
in.
crazy
It's-
for a game that's just a demo
well,
to
it was
get
a,
that high of a spot.
it was a playable teaser for Silent Hill, but then they scrapped the idea. They scrapped the game and went on to other things, which is weird because it was so popular. Like the demo itself was so popular. So it's kind of like what could have been. What could have been. with that game.
I wish that game would have come out for sure. A new Silent Hill. I would have been super pumped for that.
We need to play Visage. It's very similar, and I think it's made by the same people.
Okay.
And so we need to get that played. If you guys think that Resident Evil is scary or any of the other games we played, then we're gonna be screaming like little girls playing that. It's freaky.
Yeah, I'd be down. But have you seen
graphics are so
seen the
good.
full playthrough though? Because you're that guy. You'll watch a full game. get
No,
played.
I haven't. And then there's been a lot of downloadable stories on it already. So
Okay.
you
Okay.
know, if we have both of them, and I haven't watched the whole thing. I've watched the beginning, and I've seen what the ghost lady looks like in it, but that's
Okay.
not gonna.
No, that's not the one me and you watched a Markiplier play on, right? That one night where he's in the house. He's going through the
Yes,
house.
but we didn't watch the whole thing.
Okay,
We watched like
okay.
a little bit of it.
Yeah, that one
It's
looked
pretty freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Yep,
only gets
and the
worse.
graphics were good in it too.
Mhm.
Number
Have to check it out.
number 3, another scary one that I've heard a lot of, never played, is Alien Isolation.
Mhm.
In this game, they say
Mhm.
everything in the game is scary because this alien literally comes after you. You take on the role of Ripley's daughter Amanda, searching a derelict space station for her mother, only to find the same beast she fought. You're constantly on guard from the cinematic AI of an alien hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So this means you're holding your breath as you narrowly avoid detection, screaming in terror if it's coming
I've
after
heard
you.
I've heard it's real
Yeah,
good
it's
from the couple
creepy.
people I
There's
know that
even
have played through.
There's even points in the game where you're not even just running from the alien anymore. There's other things too.
Ooh,
Mm.
nice. Okay.
And there is no point in the game that you can actually fight the alien. Or maybe you do at the end, but it's not during the campaign. From what I understand, it's really about
There's a
hiding,
lot of
sneaking, and
hiding and
escaping.
sneaking. Yeah. And the
I like
AI,
those kind of games.
I hear the AI is very smart too. Like it adapts and changes, so it's
Yes.
not really, you're not playing the same game over and over again.
Mm.
You know, so the fact that the AI itself is thinking, it's hard to memorize
cool.
what to do against the
I
alien.
remember I watched PewDiePie play that game, and when he first started, there's a bunch of vents that you go through. You can use vents to go around stuff, and so he was using all the vents. He's like, this is how we're gonna get around them. And one time he went in the vents, and he was going down a crawl space, and it just starts coming at him in the vent.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
that's
like,
good.
ah!
Yeah, I
So
pee
it
myself.
does learn. Yeah.
So it picks up on where you've been and starts looking around there. Oh, that's so cool. Imagine that, guys. I know we're almost number 2, but imagine that. The smarter
A
we get at
game that
making
learns.
AI, a game that
creepy.
adapts to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Could you imagine that?
What about a game? What about this? What about a game that's also recording you, right?
Mhm.
And picking up on like your facial signals, and what about the game is most scary to you, and then adapting the game.
Then
Not just how you respond to the
Capitalizes on
game,
that.
but your real,
That'd
be
super
freaking
creepy.
sweet.
be like
Hey.
Jeepers Creepers, and the more it can tell you're freaked out, the
Yeah,
more
it's
the
just
monster
like
can see where you're at.
a fear sensor.
Mhm.
What if you had a fear sensor in the game, like it's sensing your own fear?
That's
Based
what I
on-
mean.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
like it could
creepy.
even have like a little heart rate monitor that you strap on while you play the game, and then a little camera that reads your body language.
Yeah.
So
That'd
you
be
gotta go
freaking
hide
sweet.
and just like meditate. Like, come on.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
like shh.
That's cool.
That'd be
That's
cool.
a good idea. We have great ideas. It's too bad we're not geniuses. yet.
Sure.
We are geniuses.
All
We just
right.
need to find somebody with money.
You ready for top 2, boys?
I'm
See
ready.
it.
All right. Number 2 is Layers of Fear.
I've played that.
Yeah.
I have
I'm
not.
surprised that made it to number 2.
Yeah, that's what they considered number 2. Now, of course, this is Games Radar, so their opinions may differ. But they say most games can make you jump. They can make you scream, but few can make you doubt yourself in real life. Layers of Fear initially appears very similar as you explore a spooky, creepy, and cavernous empty house. The gothic story unravels slowly as you play an unnamed artist returning home. It soon becomes clear. It soon becomes clear, though, that madness has overtaken the painter, and it expresses itself in the unreliable narration of the physical world. Doors disappear and corridors warp. Just around the corner from you. The game rearranges itself in such a way to recreate the main character's madness that only a few hours in, and you'll find yourself questioning everything. Was that desk on the side of the room last time you looked? Are you sure? Add to that the nature of the protagonist's illness, an obsessional painting made from less than savory materials, and you have one of the greatest horror games of all time, they say.
It's good. I will say it's good. I just don't. And there was parts in there that made me jump really bad, but it's one of those games that you don't fight, or it's just a walkthrough game, and so that's what kind of surprised me. But they do a really good job. One of the best games I've ever played, like you're talking about, at switching stuff on you. And like, for example, you can be walking down a corridor or a hallway and get to a door you think you're supposed to go through and pull on it, and it's locked, and when you turn around, it's a completely different room. And you're like,
Okay.
how did that change so fast? How did they render that without me noticing anything?
Yeah,
Like,
that's really cool.
there's no sound, there's nothing. You just turned around and it's different.
Yeah, I like
And there's
games
even
like
a
that.
part where there's 4, like you get stuck in a room and there's doors on every one, and then you keep turning and the doors are disappearing and then they're reappearing. It's weird. They're really good at doing it.
They did that to you on Batman VR, the Batman VR game.
In the asylum one or something.
Well, you end up at the end. You go to the asylum, and there's a room you go into, and you start going mad, and it shows you like different things. Like it makes you turn around in the VR space, and it changes things on you. And there's some parts on there that are very scary, like jump scare. You know, So I know there's one where you're face to face with Killer Croc, and he's super scary in that game in VR. So that was one of those I about threw my headset off on too, because it was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting it, you know. All right, so to end the list, guys, so the number one spot for Games Radar, the number one champion in all of horror games for them, was Resident Evil 7. They got the number one spot.
That's the VR one.
Well, you can also play it non-VR.
Yeah, but you
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. It's got a good mix of crazy and gory, and just it's got like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre feel, and at the same time it's got the spiritual feel to it, and it's like all over.
I only got to play it a little bit with Clint, and I loved it, but I never got back to the rest of it.
Everything you want to do is get out of that house and stuff in that game, dude.
Yeah.
It's
And you've not really played it in VR, right, Hunter? Like, you've not really experienced
I did
it in
the
VR?
demo that you have.
Yeah.
Where the girl grabs your face, and I almost punched Claire.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Playing the game is a whole, because it's just, I think the most effective thing I've ever played in a game, and this game did it, is one of the main characters, Jack, the dad, comes after you. And the thing about Jack is you can't really kill him. You can knock him down, but he ends up getting back up. He's kind of what they did with Mr. X almost. He comes looking for you.
Right.
He hunts you down throughout the game. And in VR, they've made Jack so big. Like, he's so ominous. I mean, when he's coming at you, it's like, oh, you freeze up. It's such an effective game.
And at times in this game, he just like busts through walls and stuff.
Yeah. He can just bust through walls. And then as the game goes, he becomes more and more crazy, and his body starts changing, of course, like you would expect in a Resident Evil game.
The storyline and the weird family and all that kind of stuff it's just, that was very different for Resident Evil.
Yeah.
But it was definitely very scary. Yeah.
And I will say the ending to it and just all that is it's another one of those that takes a twist that you didn't think it would take.
Right.
In some areas. So, yeah, very effective, very good. And so I'm not mad that they made number 7 a top spot. I think the fact that they brought VR is a big deal. I think that should count for something. And so, I will say to this day, number 7, Resident Evil 7 in VR is the scariest game I ever played in my life. I was legit scared. So, I think you two would probably agree if you played it through.
Yeah, I mean, the little bit that I played it, definitely I thought it was going to be. It was intense. Yeah.
Yep. When you add that level of realism, like that poppiness and that 3D aspect to it. Ugh.
And you just can't escape. Yeah.
Now, you're saying you're not mad that that's number 1, but is there anything that you think should have at least been on their list of top 20?
Visage, for sure. If it was made,
this
list was made.
Yeah. Depending on, I think the list's fairly recent though. A game that deserves to be on the list that didn't make it.
It sounds like this
list.
Visage game should be, just from the way Hunter's described it.
Yeah, and it might be that game's not completed, so maybe that's why. Like, isn't it still kind of in beta? Right, Hunter? Last time we looked at it, wasn't it still in beta at the time?
No, well, I don't think it was in beta. I don't know. Maybe it was.
Because I thought it was still kind of early access, like they were still going to release some stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like they hadn't released the full story. So that might be why it's not on the list.
The Evil Within was kind of a scary game. I wouldn't put it up there in the top 10, but
yeah. I'm sure the Dark Souls games are pretty scary. I played a little bit of those before, and those can be pretty. They're scary, but for the element of if you die, you lose everything.
The indie game Slenderman, I think that should have been on there.
See, I've never played, even just right now, we're playing Dead by Daylight. I think I haven't played every game on that list. Dead by Daylight's intense, bro. I mean, it's I feel like that game should be in there for its own style, you know what I mean? But that's definitely one of the top games for me that I've played as for intensity and scary.
And I think on that they narrowed down story driven. I think they just did single player scary is what it seemed like.
Right. So maybe you can't really include Left 4 Dead either, because that one I can't leave off a list like that. Yeah. Now we're talking Left 4 Dead 1, obviously, not 2. But Left 4 Dead 1, the intensity of the tank. I don't know that if I had ever experienced anything prior to that
Mm-hmm.
that was as intense as trying to be a tank on expert.
Oh yeah.
You know what I
Super
mean? It's
scary.
just intense.
Yeah.
Silent Hill 4, I think should have been on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another
It's
one.
one where you're locked in the apartment room.
Yeah. Anything out of that's not already in a series.
Yeah, anything out of a series. That's the only two that jumped out to me. The one you mentioned and that one.
Yeah.
Slenderman,
Left 4
yeah,
Dead.
that's not in a series, but
Yeah. Even Friday
But
the
I see
13th
you're
had its own scariness to it. In the
you're right.
beginning.
They didn't include any of that style, so maybe you're
Mhm.
right. Maybe it's not co-op and that style. Yeah, it's just story
Yeah.
games.
Just
Yep.
you by yourself in a room playing the game.
Right.
Yeah.
But just so you guys know, those are not the only scary games that exist.
Oh yeah.
Dead by
yeah.
Daylight, you know what I mean? Slender Man, these other kind of games like Friday the 13th, they're a new genre, but
Mhm. I've
they're
even
good
seen.
games.
I've even seen the Bigfoot game that I've been telling you guys I want to try one of these days. I've
Mhm.
seen it, and it looks scary, even though it's an indie game.
Mhm.
But I mean, the idea of being out in the snow at night with this, this Bigfoot that's coming after you, that sounds pretty scary. Like, it's definitely got its, its
Right.
jumps to it. But yeah, I think that overall covers it. Something me and Hunter had talked about while you were away earlier, Ryan. To close out the show, we had the idea of going around the room or going around the stream and saying, basically admitting what scares you effectively. Maybe not in a game, but in general.
Mhm.
And it can't be anything cheesy like losing your kids or anything like that. It's got to be something that's like
Right.
legitimate, scares you.
Right.
So since Hunter came up with the suggestion, we'll let him go first.
well,
That way Ryan can collect his thoughts.
I think two of mine are two different things. What scares me in general and what scares me in video games is different. But I think one of the scariest things I've seen in video games, and you guys might laugh at me out there, it's not even in horror games, is water levels. And like when you're submerged in water in some of these video
Mhm.
games and it's such a vast area, my mind wanders. I think if I keep going, something's going to pop up in the distance.
Mhm.
A couple of examples of what got me when I was a kid or younger was the Mario level in I forget which Mario that was, but it's the 3D one where you're in the castle and you
Nintendo
go into the
64.
picture frames. There's the water level, you go down in the water, and then there's that huge red eel thing that comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Freaked me out, dude. It freaked me out so bad. And then another one was
I
Tomb
remember that
Raider
taking
2. I
Yeah.
think there's a ship level where you're under the water, and you're under the water, but it's black. It's like you're just down way deep. It's just black, and there's this huge shark chasing you. Freaked me out. Hated it. And then one of the new Tomb Raiders, you
I'm guessing
start-
BioShock's not your favorite game.
No, BioShock's freaky too, but one of the freakiest ones that I again had to have Chase do for me, my brother, because I couldn't do it,
Mhm.
is one of the newer Tomb Raiders. I think it was Tomb Raider Underworld. I don't remember, but it's one of the newer ones.
Okay.
Not like brand new, but not back at
Super old.
PS2.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
You start the game and you're out on this little yacht boat in the middle of the ocean. There's no there's no island in sight. There's nothing. I'm like, what are you supposed to do? Trying to start the boat. You can't start the boat. So then I figure out the only thing you can do is go down. So you jump in the water and you just start swimming down. You can't see anything. It's just blue. Blue. And I was freaked out. I was like, Chase, you're going to have to do this. So I handed him the remote, so he starts swimming down. But anyways, nothing huge down at the bottom except there's a little tomb down there that has a huge octopus in it. But yeah, so water levels freak me out. And then my weird fear that I have in real life is that there's something watching me and I can't see it. Like that movie we watched the other day, Clinton, where that old lady was up in the corner looking at her son.
Oh, yeah?
That stuff freaks me
What was
out.
that movie called?
Oh, yeah.
Heritage or Lineage or something like that?
Hereditary.
Hereditary, yeah. That was a
Yeah,
good one.
I wish I would have never watched that movie.
The one creeped you out for a
demonic.
couple days, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's just like walking into a room and something's there watching me. I don't know it's there, and then I realize it's looking at me. That stuff. That just weird thought, and you know. That's the spook stuff right there. For
Okay.
Me.
Nice. I can't blame you on some of that. I think some of the water stuff kind of bugs me. I always had issues with water stuff a little bit. But I don't think it was my biggest fear. In gaming, anytime I came across like kids, like not even kids, like just the creepy, like long hair, ghostly woman, like banshee looking stuff. Anything that kind of contorts and moves weird and like comes running at you shaky, any of that kind of stuff gives me the willies. Just, get away from me.
Yeah. That standard demonic girl.
Yeah. Not so much Grudge. Like the Grudge chick, for some reason, never got me. It's the ones that can stand up and I don't know.
Kind of jitter and all that. I know what you're talking about.
Like this.
Yeah, but that can come after you really fast. Like the Exorcist movie. The girl in that was legitimately scary as, growing up. Because she kind of had that. There's a hidden scene that people probably don't know. It's not hidden. It's a deleted scene where they had her walk down the steps like a spider. Like backwards. And kind of like, putting her tongue out like a spider. And I saw that scene. I was like, whoa, that should have been in the movie. That was super scary. Like way scarier than some of the stuff they did. But so that's probably one. In real life, as far as scariness goes, like things I'm scared of, is heights really get me. Like if I was up on something to where I feel like I could just fall off, I'd flip. So like one time I went with Ryan out to this place and we climbed this mountain and I about lost it. And he ran into a beehive area. All these bees were all over him. So Ryan's allergic to bees. And he just takes off, just freaks out, just running. Just runs off and leaves me. We're already halfway up this mountain hiking. And when I say mountain, Hunter, I mean we're on the side. Like we're doing like Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Like, kind of scooching over. Like if I fall, I could definitely die from it.
Cliff edges and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely die from it. Or if I fell, I'm definitely going to be injured badly. It was. I don't even know why I went. Yeah,
the bees. I had to get out of there.
Bees. So mine was a little boring on the real life scare. Ryan, what you got, Bubba?
In games, it's not the jump scare. It's I think my favorite part of games is I would call it an immersive scare. It's like when it gets really intense, when it's like the music and the sounds and all that. Like I know something's right there. I know there could be a jump scare, or it could just get real crazy here in just a second. It's that building. That's actually the scarier part for me. Not usually the result. It's that intense building is like the one that gets me in games. And it's like, just end this already.
So do you like it when they move things around on you and kind of mess with your equilibrium a little bit in the dark in games like that?
I think I like that. That's fun.
Like
it's
remember on
immersive,
Condemned how they would move those mannequins?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And then it freaked you out because you thought it was someone and then it wasn't, but then eventually
Yeah, so it builds the eeriness.
Yeah.
Right. I like that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So it's kind of the deep layered stuff that scares me the most in games. Not that the intense, when I'm actually getting chased and all that isn't scary too. But it's probably not the thing that sticks with me.
You like the build up. The release is like, oh, you can at least breathe. It's after you.
Right.
Yeah. You can just do the, just run and,
Yeah.
At that
in
point,
real life,
it's like I'm just running. Yeah.
In real life, I'm not scared of anything.
Wow. He's that guy.
It was that answer you said not to use, Clinton.
What,
I know. No, you said we can't just say, something cheesy.
Oh, okay.
Blah, blah, blah.
Which I think Clinton was cheesy, too. I'm afraid of heights.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I mean,
I was like going deep in my fears, like when I started getting real wigged out.
No, you said you don't like it when you think someone's watching you.
No,
but I feel like something's always watching me.
Not like a man watching me in my room.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Spiritual, like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like stuff that's not really there and it's never gonna be from the movies, but I start playing in my head sometimes. Right. And I'm like,
Now there has been a couple times where, like I mentioned,
I've spooked myself in real life on stuff like that.
Not too long ago when we got lost in the woods. You know what I mean? And I had shared with you guys that that was like, I'm being real. I'm not trying to be Mr. Tough Guy. That was like one of the few times in my life that I was kind of like had a little bit of that heebie-jeebie. Like, what are we gonna do? I guess so. That maybe that scares me. That thought of
getting disoriented and having that loss of control.
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
situation?
Right. So,
Okay.
which is very rare. I don't like it. And so I would say that scares me. And there was a time like that where I was swimming and couldn't swim anymore. You were there, and I thought I was
Kenneth.
dead.
I think it was you and
Yep.
Kenneth, wasn't it?
Yep. And obviously that was scary because I thought we might be dead.
They swam
You
down.
guys in a lake or what?
They swam
A river.
downstream on a river.
No, we didn't
After
swim
we were-
downstream. The current took us downstream
Okay.
as we were swimming.
Yeah.
But-
They were going to swim against the current, I guess is what was going on, right? You were going to see who could.
We were just
get
trying to
upstream
cross the river.
fastest.
No, just cross it. And it was just way wider than we thought. Yeah.
And we were all there. We were all on the bank. His dad was there with us. We thought they
Yeah,
were
but
out there
by the-
playing. We did
But
not
by the
know they
time
were about to
anybody knew
drown.
anything, well, we were too far away. By
Yeah.
the time we swam across, we were way downriver, so nobody could hear us or see us.
So
So
they're
we couldn't
yelling.
get back. We couldn't get back. We almost died. It was crazy.
Didn't you say you?
I
kinda,
thought
like,
we were
looked at each
dead.
other. You were just like,
Yep.
kind of did the "I love you, bro."
Yeah, we did. We said our goodbyes. I mean, it was over. It wasn't a joke.
Wow.
It was.
How did you
it was
get out of that
serious.
situation?
We were completely out of energy. We were at the point of we couldn't swim anymore. So we're just kind of like floating on our side, and maybe like one stroke, and then every once in a while, try to go see if you could touch again. You know what I mean? And every time we'd go to touch, we'd go under, and then you're choking.
You're
come
freaking
up,
out even more.
and you're scared even more. And
It's
so
taking
finally, it
more
was
energy.
like, "This is it." And then I remember I went under and I touched. And I came up and was like, "I touched." He was like, he went in and it was like life came back into us. It
It's
was
like the
crazy.
last ditch effort to survive.
Right.
What's
But,
weird is you guys didn't come back up and tell us. Like
Yes,
don't
we
remember-
did.
I don't
What
remember you
he's-
coming
what he's
back and
saying
just being
is-
freaked out though.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got you now.
Yeah, I came back and told my dad, "Hey, we were dead. We thought we were gone." Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
you were in the middle of the river. You weren't by the side.
No.
Right.
So that's why you couldn't swim to the side anymore. You were just done and tired
Right.
in the middle
Right.
of the river.
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause
You
they were
just had
already trying to
wait
swim
till it got
against you.
shallow.
While going further downstream away from anybody who could possibly save us.
Right, because that was the whole deal. They were having to go upstream to get to us.
Right.
Because
But
they were just trying to get us so someone could come out and help them.
if you're in a
Well,
life,
we were just trying to get to where we could touch. That's it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They tell you if you're really struggling to swim downstream, but to the side.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't swim against the current. We were just drifting
Okay.
and then
Just
trying to swim
out.
to the bank. Drift and try to swim to the bank.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, there you go, guys.
Sorry.
The genuineness of Ryan Maddox. He's not scared of a thing, and never will be.
Except drowning.
Man of iron.
I'm not scared of drowning, even after
Yeah.
almost dying.
Oh,
I still
no
love the
way.
water.
I'd love the water too, but that's a fear of mine is drowning.
Ugh. That would be a bad fear.
It's rough.
Well, guys, it was an awesome little Halloween episode. It was different. I hope you guys liked this special format, which was us just talking Halloween stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Had a blast doing it. Won't be the last of our Halloween stuff until after, the Halloween day. So
Oh, yeah.
if you got any ideas or want to hear anything extra, let us know. With that said,
Stay delirious.
Stay dadding.
and stay gaming. This has been a Delirious Dads production. For more information about the show, visit our website at www.deliriousdadsgaming.com. You can also find us on facebook.com/deliriousdadsgaming, twitch.tv, and YouTube. Make sure you like and share our pages to help us grow the channel. You can listen to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. Please leave a rating and review if you enjoy the show. Thank you again for listening, and we hope to see you next time.